Hello, Philosophy 103 Summer Session Introduction to Ethics. My name is Bryce Blankenship, and I will be the instructor for the short 4 weeks that we have together. And I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish in these 4 weeks. A little bit about me. I've taught with the philosophy department here at the University of Idaho for about 14 years, so coming up on 14 years in August, so a bit of a long time. I normally teach Philosophy 103. I also teach Philosophy 240, which is Belief and Reality. I also teach Philosophy 201, Critical Thinking. I've taught a full semester-long existentialism class. And I also have taught Philosophy and Film, which I'm teaching in the fall, a live version of it. And then each spring I teach a class called the Philosophy of Alcohol, which is also pretty fun. So I've got my hands on a lot of different philosophical pots, and I've been able to engage with a lot of different students and a lot of engaged students over the last couple of years, engaged in philosophy and philosophical discourse. I always like teaching these summer sessions because, one, I think that they're really conducive for students to achieve some of their goals and getting 3 credits of the class, while also hopefully having some interesting things to engage in. As you'll see with the syllabi, I try to lay the course out where there are parameters and time frames, but it's still open-ended enough that you can kind of work at your own pace to an extent, okay? And as you'll see, and as we kind of get into the groove, and I try to set it up where it is pretty understandable and pretty doable once we kind of, again, find our footing a little bit, okay? So you'll see the assignments listed on the syllabi. And usually each week you'll have kind of an introduction, or you'll have at least a first kind of response paper, and then you'll have discussion board posts, and then you'll have quizzes, etc. So there's always kind of something to do to an extent, okay? I recognize that this is a 103 course. I also recognize that it's summer and you all have things going on, whether that be work, relaxation, travel, etc. But I also do want you to stay connected to the course, right? So, for instance, your good person essay, as you'll see, right, is open from 6 a.m. to midnight. That's 18 hours in one day. So hopefully you can navigate your work schedule, your travel schedule, your connection schedule, whatever the case may be, where you're able to find time within those 18 hours to complete the assignment, okay? So with that, right, and then also that'll relate to the quizzes, that you've got a pretty open-ended time frame on those. And the discussion boards, again, will open at 6 a.m. and close at midnight on Thursdays most weeks in the next 4 weeks. So again, I kind of keep these 18-hour windows that are open for you to complete assignments and be engaged, but also that's under the premise, that's under the notion of knowing that you all are out and about doing your things that you're doing, okay? So the course does require intention, it does require focus, it does require engagement, but it also is, again, built in such a way that I know it's a summer course, right? It's built in such a way that I know that you all are navigating various things that you're navigating, okay? It is important that you check in with the course every day, look at your modules and your days every day, the days within the modules every day. It's important that you read when there are things to read, and if there are things to read, you'll find them in the module. Moreover, have a strong internet connection, right? That's pretty important in an online class. So, yeah, if you email me and you're like, hey, I'm about to spend 2 weeks in the mountains, which is awesome, by the way, go spend 2 weeks in the mountains, but maybe you should consider taking this class in the second session rather than the first, right? Because it's pretty imperative that you have a pretty connected and pretty committed connection to the class via the internet. Okay, so make sure you have a strong internet connection, make sure you're checking the class every day, and as always, email me, reach out with any questions you may have about the class, about the structure, about the layout, and usually in the summer, my rule of thumb is I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Okay, so I'm also checking my email every day. I'm also engaging every day. So I try to stay pretty on top of it and pretty diligent as well. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. But as the course starts, and I've tried to lay the modules out where it's pretty intuitive, and I think I've done a pretty decent job There's going to be a lot of video lectures just like this, so it's kind of like podcasts almost. You can watch me if you'd like. It's kind of weird, I get that. But you can also just kind of like put the video on, do what you're doing, and I'm kind of in the background talking philosophy. So yeah, enjoy the course. As always, I'll check in kind of each week just to give us a little bit of a prep, a little bit of a heads up on what to expect. And yeah, these 4 weeks are going to go quick. They always do. But again, that's part of the, I think, joy of these kinds of classes. They go quick, you get a lot done, and then you're able to move on to whatever is next after this. So welcome to the course. I'm excited for the next 4 weeks. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. Cheers.